I didn't fight the virus. Jesus did. This is my story of how I was able to battle COVID-19. My symptoms started in March 14, midnight, when I suddenly woke up to go to the bathroom because of a bad stomach. By the early afternoon of the next day, I was all alone by myself in the condo, nursing my fever while a slight throb started to materialize at the back of my head, which later developed into a full-blown headache. This headache was unlike any other headache I've ever felt before. It felt like someone was hitting the back of my head with a baseball bat, and the pain would go down in streaks through my neck and my back, through my spine, from my shoulder blades up to my lower back. Later that night, I also started feeling extreme chills, which caused me to start shivering so wildly that it made it difficult to sleep at all. Eventually, I got tested, and making the long story short, my doctor explained that should my COVID-19 test results come out positive, I was already considered at a moderate risk level because I have pre-existing asthma. It actually took 17 hours of waiting in the ER isolation room before I finally got the news that there was a room available. In response to one of my follow-ups, a doctor finally went to me and said, "Sir, may available na room na, pero medyo matatagalan pa ng konti. Dinidisinfect lang because the last patient expired." After hearing this, I shut the blinds of the isolation room and started crying. I was broken and had hit the lowest point. It was at this point that I cried out to the Lord and clung to Him and His promises. I started reciting the verses that I knew in my head and desperately prayed that I would feel His presence and His peace. Psalms 23 verses 1 to 4 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for You are with me. Your rod and Your staff, they comfort me." Psalms 18 verses 1 to 2 says, "I love You, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." Because I serve in the music ministry at church, playing music while at church, the experience is very different. But in the hospital, I had a guitar and I was playing worship songs, but I had an IV and I was weak, which made playing the guitar difficult. By no means was my music perfect, but it was different. This time, it was between me and Jesus. I would spend the afternoon playing my guitar and crying as His love, grace, and peace filled me and took away the anxiety, the worry, and the loneliness. It wasn't all smooth sailing, as there were still good days and bad days. While I would busy myself during the day and talk to my family and friends over video chat, at the end of the day, when you try to sleep, you realize that it's just you in the room alone. And finally, Isaiah 43 verse 2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flame burn you." These were the verses that I clung to. By the end of March, my symptoms were gone. My test results were showing that I was almost back to normal, and my doctor had actually said that clinically I was showing signs of having recovered. It was on April 7 that I got my first negative and was finally cleared by the doctor to go home and self-isolate. Several days after I got discharged, someone asked me what allowed me to keep fighting the virus when I was at the hospital. My answer was simple. I didn't fight the virus. Jesus did. Instead, I stood firm in my faith that He would fulfill His promises to me, that He would protect me, He would be there for me and never leave me. At the end of the day, I knew that if I died, Jesus would be there with open arms, ready to accept me. The peace that I felt, which I couldn't explain, allowed me to get the rest that I needed to support my immune system, which ultimately led me to the recovery. My name is Julian Sese, 31 years old, husband to a beautiful wife, father to a lovely daughter, a sinner saved by grace, a follower of Christ, and a COVID-19 survivor. To God be all the glory and praise.